The first insult landed before Eden even touched the front door. "Staff entrance is around the side," the valet said, eyes sliding over her thrift store dress like it was a stain on the marble steps. Eden didn't correct him. She tightened her grip on the garment bag and walked toward the service gate of Callum Voss's mansion, because the clinic didn't accept pride as payment, and her mother's prescription was due on Monday. If you've ever been judged in 2 seconds by what you're wearing, don't scroll. Tap like, subscribe, and comment where you're watching from, because what happens after they humiliate Eden will make this entire mansion regret it. Inside, everything smelled expensive: cedar, citrus, sharp cologne. Crystal lights spilled over walls so white they looked unreal. A string quartet played near a staircase wide enough for a parade. Marla, the catering supervisor, grabbed Eden in the back hallway. Clipboard, headset, panic. "You're late." "I came as fast as I could," Eden said. Marla's gaze flicked to Eden's scuffed heels. "Keep your head down tonight. No talking. No eye contact. These people don't like being reminded we exist." She shoved a name tag into Eden's palm. "Eden, service. Main hall, champagne, and do not spill." Eden nodded and stepped into the ballroom. Screens behind the stage read, "Voss Initiative, Gala for tomorrow." Cameras sat on tripods like predators. Guests laughed without moving their faces, trading favors the way normal people traded jokes. At the center stood Callum Voss. Mid-30s, tux fitted like armor, smile practiced for headlines. When he lifted his glass, the room leaned toward him. Beside him glided Layla Harrington, his fiancée, silver silk, diamond throat, eyes that measured everyone like inventory. Eden started weaving through the crowd with her tray. A woman in gold took a flute without looking at Eden.
"Is this real champagne?" she asked her friend. "Or the kind they give to people who don't matter?"
Her friend laughed. "Ask the girl, she probably knows the discount code." Eden kept moving, face calm, hands steady. Near the staircase, a reporter whispered, "Tonight's the announcement. Deal closes in the morning. Voss is about to own half the waterfront." Eden's stomach tightened. Waterfront meant permits. Permits meant bribes. Not her business, until it became her business. She turned and nearly collided with Layla. The tray tilted. Champagne wobbled in the glasses. Layla didn't step back. She watched, waiting for the spill like she wanted it. Eden corrected the tray in a heartbeat. Not a single drop fell. Layla's lips curved. "Careful," she said softly. "Those glasses cost more than your monthly rent." A couple nearby chuckled. "Yes, ma'am," Eden said. Layla's eyes narrowed, annoyed that Eden didn't shrink. "What's your name?" "Eden." "Eden," Layla repeated, as if tasting something bitter. "This house is being watched tonight. Try not to embarrass us." Eden glanced past her and saw what Layla meant. Security that wasn't hotel staff. Men with earpieces at every exit, scanning faces, guarding the upstairs corridor like it held state secrets. Layla stepped closer, voice dropping. "If anything goes missing, they'll search you first. People like you always think you deserve a souvenir." Eden's jaw set. "I'm here to work." "Good," Layla said, smiling wider. "Then do it quietly." Across the room, Callum's eyes lifted and landed on Eden. For a second his expression flickered, recognition maybe, then smoothed back into charm. Layla noticed. Her hand slid onto Callum's arm, possessive, and her smile hardened. Marla appeared at Eden's elbow, whispering through clenched teeth. "Fireplace service, now, and don't give Layla a reason." Eden adjusted her grip on the tray, shoulders back, and walked toward the brightest part of the room, where every mistake became entertainment. The fireplace salon was where the mansion stopped pretending it was a party and started acting like a courtroom. Fewer guests, lower voices, heavier watches. Men who didn't laugh unless it bought them something. The kind of room where a handshake could cost a city. Eden slipped in with her tray, shoulders square, eyes down like Marla taught her. The fireplace itself was enormous. Stone carved with initials, flames snapping behind a black iron screen. Above it hung a painting of Callum Voss shaking hands with a governor. Layla was already there, posted near Callum like a guard dog in diamonds. Callum stood with 3 men Eden recognized from magazine covers: an energy investor, a real estate tycoon, and a politician who smiled too hard. Their glasses were empty, and their attention was on Callum's hands as he spoke, because his hands were where the money moved. "Champagne," Layla said without looking at Eden. "Not that tray, the reserve." "We're serving house," Eden said quietly. Layla's head turned, slow. "Are you correcting me?" Eden felt eyes slide onto her from every angle. "No, ma'am. I'm asking where the reserve is." Layla's smile sharpened with satisfaction. "Good. At least you know how to ask. Cellar cabinet. Code is on Marla's clipboard. Hurry, Callum hates waiting." Eden pivoted out, moving fast but steady through the service corridor. Marla's clipboard sat on a cart. Eden spotted the code taped beneath a sticky note, punched it into the small cabinet beside the wine station, and pulled out a bottle wrapped in velvet. The label alone looked like her monthly paycheck. On the way back, a junior server hissed, "Don't! That's Voss's personal." "I was told," Eden said. The server's eyes widened. "By who?" Eden didn't answer. She didn't have to. Layla's name hung in the air like a warning. Back in the fireplace salon, Layla took the bottle from Eden as if accepting tribute. She held it up for the men to see. "That," Layla said, loud enough for the room, "is what we pour when the right people are watching." Callum glanced over, smile still on. "Thanks, Layla." His eyes flicked to Eden again, not friendly, not cruel, just assessing, like she was an object that had appeared in the wrong inventory. Layla popped the cork with a clean snap, then extended the bottle back to Eden. "Pour, and try not to shake." Eden poured into crystal flutes, one by one. No spill, no tremor. The energy investor didn't look at her face. He looked at her hands. "You hire anyone off the street now, Voss?" Layla laughed lightly. "It was last minute. You know how staffing is." The politician smirked. "The help is getting brave these days." Eden stepped back, tray balanced, ready to disappear. Then Layla's friend, same woman in silver who'd been circling all night, slid behind Eden and murmured, "Careful, sweetheart," like a warning with teeth. Eden shifted one step to let her pass. The woman's shoulder hit Eden's elbow, hard. The tray dipped. A flute toppled. A thin arc of pale champagne leapt through the air and landed dead center on the real estate tycoon's white jacket. For half a second, the room froze, like the mansion itself had stopped breathing. Then the tycoon surged to his feet. "Are you kidding me?" Eden straightened instantly. "I'm sorry, sir. I'll have it cleaned, immediately." The tycoon's face flushed. "This is Italian. This jacket is—" He looked at Callum like he expected compensation in public. "You call this professional?" Layla's voice cut in, sweet as icing. "Oh, no, Eden, tell him it was an accident." "It was an accident," Eden said, eyes on the tycoon. "Someone bumped me." Layla's smile didn't move, but her eyes sharpened. "Someone bumped you?" "Yes, ma'am." The room's attention snapped tighter. Eden felt it. The way people enjoyed not just the mistake, but the chance to watch someone get punished for it. Callum stepped closer, calm, controlled. "How long have you worked for my staff?" "Tonight," Eden said. A ripple of amused disbelief moved through the men. Callum nodded slowly, as if the answer confirmed something he already believed. "Then you understand something, Eden?" Eden held his gaze. "This house is built on precision," he said. "Every person here is here because they earned the right to be. We don't have accidents." He said the last word like it tasted bad. Layla's friend pressed a hand to her own chest. "She lurched into me. I tried to steady her." The lie was clean. It had witnesses ready to repeat it. The tycoon looked at Eden like she was gum on his shoe. "Get her out of my sight." Layla turned toward the room, raising her voice just enough. "Everyone, please, let's not make this bigger than it is. The girl is embarrassed enough." Embarrassed enough. Like humiliation was a seasoning. Callum didn't look away from Eden. "Apologize." "I already did," Eden said. Callum's lips curved slightly, not a smile. "Again. And this time make it sound like you understand who you spilled on." A few men chuckled. Someone lifted a phone, pretending to check messages while the camera aimed straight at her. Eden's throat tightened once, then she forced her voice to stay even. "Sir, I'm sorry for the damage. I'll make sure it's handled." The tycoon scoffed. "Handled by who? You?" Callum reached into his pocket, pulled out a crisp bill, and held it between two fingers. "Here," he said, loud enough for everyone. "For your trouble." The tycoon blinked. "Callum." Callum didn't look at him. He kept the bill aimed at Eden like a leash. "Take it, and next time, remember where you stand." Eden didn't move. Layla's eyes glittered. She loved this part. The moment where a person decided whether they were going to crawl. Callum's voice dropped, sharper. "Take it." Eden's fingers closed around the bill, not because she wanted it, but because refusing would turn this into violence with smiles. She tucked it into her apron without looking down. "Good," Callum said, as if she'd just passed a test. "Now fix it." Marla rushed in with a stain kit, face pale. "I'll handle it, Mr. Voss." "No," Callum said. "She will." Marla froze. Callum pointed toward the hallway that led upstairs. "There's a rug in the study that needs attention, red wine from earlier. Since Eden is so talented at creating problems, she can learn how to remove them." Layla leaned close to Eden, whispering with velvet cruelty. "Upstairs, and don't wander. The wrong door could ruin your life." Eden nodded once. She picked up the cleaning kit from Marla's shaking hands and walked out of the fireplace salon with every rich eye following her, like they'd just watched a dog get kicked and were deciding whether it was funny enough to replay. Upstairs was quieter, colder, like the mansion kept its warmth for people who mattered. Eden followed the hallway runner past framed photographs of Callum with senators, governors, CEOs. Smiles everywhere, power frozen in glass. At the end of the corridor, two guards stood outside double doors, hands folded, eyes empty. One of them glanced at Eden's cleaning kit. "Study's through," he said, nodding once. 5 minutes, then you're out." Eden didn't ask why he sounded like he was warning her. The study smelled like leather and old money. A wall of books nobody read. A massive desk facing floor-to-ceiling windows. On the Persian rug, deep red and gold, was the wine spill Callum had mentioned, except it didn't look like wine. Wine spreads thin, uneven. This stain was thick at the center, almost sticky, like syrup poured on purpose. Eden set the kit down and knelt. Her fingers touched the edge of the stain and came away tacky. Sweet, not wine. She kept her face still. She dipped a cloth, dabbed carefully, and listened. From behind the study, through a half-open door, voices murmured. Low enough to hide, clear enough to betray. "Tomorrow morning the permits go through," a man said. "Once that happens, Harborline is unstoppable." Callum's voice answered, calm and sharp. "Permits don't go through, people push them." "Already handled," another voice said, older, efficient. "Payments are staged, the foundation is the cover. The donations become community development, clean." Eden's stomach tightened. Harborline, waterfront, clean. She kept dabbing, slower now, letting the words land while her hands stayed busy. A chair scraped. "And the staff?" the older voice asked. "You had an incident tonight." Layla's voice floated in, bright with satisfaction. "Handled. The girl will sign an NDA before she leaves. If she talks, she'll never work again." Callum exhaled, irritated. It didn't need to be a spectacle. It needed to be a lesson, Layla replied. If you let them think they can stand tall in your house, they start believing they're people. Eden's jaw clenched. She didn't stop scrubbing. The door to the side room opened wider. A sliver of men in suits came into view. Callum, the older politician from the salon, and a thin man with silver hair Eden hadn't seen yet. The silver-haired man carried a tablet like it was a weapon. Callum glanced at Eden, and the faintest smirk tugged at his mouth. "Still working?" "Yes, sir," Eden said. "Good," he said. "I like employees who fix what they break." Layla's eyes cut down to the rug, then to Eden's hands. "Make sure you lift the whole thing. Red goes deep." Eden nodded and carefully pulled up one corner of the rug to blot underneath. Something small skittered against the hardwood and stopped near her knee. A black USB drive. It hadn't been there a second ago. Eden didn't snatch it. She didn't gasp. She moved her cloth toward it, as if wiping, and with the same motion slid it under the rag and into her palm. Then she tucked it into the inner pocket of her apron like it was nothing. Her heart didn't race on her face. It raced where no one could see. The silver-haired man continued speaking. "We move the funds through two charities. The public sees scholarships, the city council sees revitalization. Our buyers see waterfront ownership under shell names." The politician chuckled. "I love a story with a happy ending." Eden kept her head down. Don't look. Don't react. Don't be noticed. Layla drifted closer, heels quiet on the rug. She crouched slightly as if inspecting Eden's work and whispered so only Eden could hear. "You think you're strong because you didn't cry downstairs." Eden's cloth moved in slow circles. "I'm just cleaning, ma'am." Layla smiled, cruel and pretty. "No, you're surviving, and that annoys me." Her voice dropped even lower. "You're going to leave here tonight with your little bill and your little shame, and you're going to tell yourself you were above it." Eden didn't answer. Layla's eyes flicked to Eden's apron pocket, quick, instinctive, then back to her face, like she was checking something. A second later, the door behind them clicked. The head of security stepped into the study. Broad shoulders, blank expression, earpiece crackling softly. His gaze swept the room, then landed on Eden. "Miss," he said, "stand up." Eden rose slowly, keeping her hands visible. "What is it?" Callum asked, annoyed. "Routine," the guard replied. His eyes didn't leave Eden. "We had a report of staff in restricted areas." Layla's lips curved. "Oh? How shocking." The guard extended a hand. "Your phone." Eden's pulse jumped once. She forced her voice steady. "I'm on shift. My phone stays in my bag downstairs." The guard stared at her like he didn't believe in bags. "Then your apron." "My apron?" Eden repeated, calm. "Yes," he said. "Empty it." Callum watched with mild interest, like this was a demonstration. Layla watched like it was dessert. Eden reached into the front of her apron and slowly pulled out exactly what belonged there. A folded napkin, a small bottle of stain solution, gloves. Nothing else. The guard's eyes narrowed. He stepped closer. Eden didn't flinch. "Is that all?" Layla's smile faltered for the first time, just a hair. "Search your bag," she said quickly. "Downstairs." Callum waved a hand. "Do it, and then get her out of my house." The guard nodded, but he didn't move right away. He studied Eden's face, like he was trying to decide whether she was stupid or dangerous. Then he leaned in and spoke in a voice meant to sound polite. "After we check your bag, you'll sign paperwork," he said. "Non-disclosure, trespass warning, standard." Eden held his gaze. "And if I don't?" Callum answered for him, voice smooth. "Then you learn what happens when you try to matter in a room you weren't invited into." Layla stepped back, satisfied again. "Bring her." Two guards took Eden by the elbows, not rough enough to look violent, firm enough to make sure she didn't turn around. As they walked her out of the study, Eden kept her breathing even. Her cheeks stayed calm, her eyes stayed down. But inside her apron, pressed against her ribs, the small black USB drive felt like a heartbeat that didn't belong to her. They marched Eden back downstairs through the same corridors lined with smiling photos, like the house was reminding her who it belonged to. When they pushed her through the service doors near the ballroom, the noise hit again. Laughter, music, applause. But the moment guests saw security at her elbows, the sound thinned into a curious hush. People leaned, phones rose. The scandal had legs now, and everybody wanted to be part of the chase. Callum didn't stop it. He stood near the fireplace salon entrance, one hand in his pocket, watching Eden like she was a stain that needed to be scrubbed out of his evening. Layla stood beside him, calm, glittering, already sure of the ending.
"Don't drag her through the main hall," Marla whispered behind them, desperate. "Please, she didn't—"
Layla cut her off with a look. "Marla, do you want your staff investigated too?" Marla fell silent. The head of security guided Eden into a smaller room near the back stairs. Paneled walls, a metal table, a printer, two chairs positioned to make one person feel small. Eden recognized it instantly, a room built for signatures. They brought her bag from downstairs and dumped it on the table. The guard didn't ask permission. He emptied it like he was turning out pockets. Wallet, bus card, cheap perfume, a folded photo of Eden and her mother outside the clinic, a prescription receipt with a date circled in pen. Layla stepped in behind them and picked up the receipt between two fingers. "Oh," she said softly, "that's why you're here. That's why you don't know your place." Eden kept her face flat. "Put it back." Layla smiled, delighted that Eden had spoken. Listen to her, like she's negotiating. Callum entered last, closing the door behind him with a quiet final click. He didn't yell. He didn't need to. In rooms like this, calm was the sharpest weapon. "Did you find what we were looking for?" he asked. The guard shook his head. "Nothing in her bag." Layla's eyes narrowed, angry. "Then search her again." "Already did," the guard said. Callum looked at Eden. "Then you're either innocent, or you're smarter than you look." Eden didn't answer. Callum nodded toward the printer. "Paperwork." The guard slid two sheets across the table. Non-disclosure, termination acknowledgement, trespass notice. Eden read the top line. It wasn't just an NDA. It was a confession disguised as a contract, worded so she'd be agreeing she'd been in restricted areas without permission, and that she'd caused damages, and that she'd never speak about anything she saw, heard, or experienced. Her fingers stayed still on the page. "This says I admit wrongdoing." Callum's voice stayed pleasant. "It says you agree to move on." "And if I don't sign?" Eden asked. Layla's laugh was quiet. "Then you get marched back out there, and we tell them you tried to steal from us. We call the police. We make sure you never work in this city again." Eden looked at Callum. "You're going to do that over a spill you orchestrated?" Callum's eyes didn't flicker. "I'm going to do whatever I have to do to protect my house." Eden nodded slowly, as if accepting the rules. Then she said, "I want my phone." The guard frowned. "Why?" "So I can call my ride," Eden said. "Or are you keeping me here?" Callum hesitated a fraction. He didn't like anything that sounded like detainment. "Give it to her," he said. The guard retrieved Eden's phone from her bag and placed it on the table like it was contaminated. Eden picked it up, thumb hovering. Her screen lit, and with one simple movement she hit record and set the phone face down, as if she'd only unlocked it. Then she looked back at Callum. "Say it again. What happens if I don't sign?" Layla rolled her eyes. "Stop being dramatic." Callum stepped closer, voice lower, sharper. "You will lose your job, your references, your ability to pay whatever you're paying for." His eyes dropped to the prescription receipt in Layla's hand. "And if you try to talk, I will bury you." The room went still. Eden held his gaze for 2 full seconds. Then she picked up the pen. Layla's smile returned, satisfied. "Good girl." Eden signed, not with a flourish, not with fear, just a steady line. Then she slid the papers back. "I want a copy," she said. Layla scoffed. "Absolutely not." Callum paused, and Eden could see the calculation behind his eyes. Refusing a copy made them look guilty. Giving one was risk. He nodded once. "Print her a copy." Layla's head snapped toward him. "Callum—" "Do it," he said quietly. The printer spat out a second set. The guard stapled it and shoved it toward Eden. Eden tucked it into her bag beside her mother's photo. Callum leaned in, voice like silk over a blade. "You walk out that door, and you forget tonight happened." Eden stood. "I won't forget." Layla's eyes flashed. "You will, because you're nobody." Eden looked at her, calm. "That's what you keep telling yourself." The guard opened the door and escorted Eden toward the staff exit. She walked past the kitchen where Marla couldn't meet her eyes, past servers who stared like she'd been hit by a car and somehow kept walking, past the side driveway where the air smelled like cold stone and wet hedges. At the gate, the guard stopped her. "Go home." Eden stepped out into the night, and only when the mansion lights were behind her did she slide her hand into the inner pocket of her apron and feel it, still there. The black USB drive, small, silent, heavy enough to change everything. Eden didn't go straight home, not because she wanted drama, because she'd just watched how easily Callum Voss could turn a room into a weapon. And she wasn't stupid enough to bring a weapon like that USB drive into her tiny apartment with her mother sleeping behind a thin wall. She walked 2 blocks from the mansion, down a road lined with hedges trimmed like they had lawyers. Her breath fogged in the cold. Her hands shook only once when she reached into her apron's inner pocket and felt the hard edge of plastic still there. At the bus stop, under a flickering streetlight, she finally noticed something folded and wedged beneath the strap of her bag. Not money, not a note. A plain card. No logo, no flourish, just a name and a number. Detective R. Hayes, State Financial Crimes. If you have something you shouldn't. Eden stared at it, heart thumping. She thought of the guard's eyes at the gate, blank voice, but not blank meaning. Go home. Like he'd been telling her, don't do this alone. Eden didn't hesitate long. She dialed. A man answered on the second ring. Hayes? Eden swallowed. My name is Eden. I was working at the Voss Gala tonight. A pause, small, loaded. Did someone give you something? Yes. Don't say what it is out loud, Hayes said immediately. Where are you? Eden glanced at the dark street, the distant glow of the mansion behind trees. On the service road, there's a bus stop. Do not go to your house, Hayes said. Do not plug anything in on your personal devices. Can you get to a public place with cameras? There's a 24-hour diner, Eden said. 10 minutes. Sit inside, order coffee, keep it visible. I'll send a unit. Eden hung up and walked, each step forcing her to breathe like nothing was happening. Inside the diner, the air smelled like grease and old syrup. A sleepy couple sat in a booth. A waitress wiped the counter with the kind of tired care Eden understood too well. Eden ordered black coffee and took a booth facing the window. She waited. 7 minutes later, a black sedan with tinted windows rolled into the parking lot like it owned the night. Not flashy, not loud, just certain. 2 men got out. One wore a plain jacket, the other a suit. They didn't look like they were in a hurry. They looked like they were late to something inevitable. Detective Hayes slid into the booth across from Eden without asking. Close-cropped hair, calm eyes. The kind of calm that came from having handcuffs in the trunk. "You're Eden," he said. "Yes." Hayes placed a small evidence bag on the table, then nodded once. "Show me." Eden didn't dramatize it. She pulled the USB drive from her apron pocket and set it on the napkin beside her cup. Then she unlocked her phone, opened the audio file, and slid it across. Hayes listened to Callum's voice, smooth, confident, saying he would bury her. Hayes's face didn't change, but the air in the booth did. "And the drive?" he asked. "I didn't open it," Eden said. "Good," Hayes replied, and finally, for the first time, his eyes softened. "You did exactly what we needed you to do." Eden blinked. "You were already watching him." Hayes leaned back slightly. "We've been watching pieces of him. Donations that don't add up, shell companies, permits that slide through too easily." His gaze held hers. "But we didn't have the missing link. We didn't have the moment where he crossed from corruption into intimidation of a witness." Eden's throat tightened. "I didn't ask to be a witness." "No one does," Hayes said. "That's why people like him get away with it." He sealed the USB drive into the evidence bag, then stood. "You're coming with us in the morning. Not as an employee, not as a suspect, as protected witness. We're going to do this clean." Eden's hands wrapped around her coffee like it could keep her steady. "What happens now?" Hayes's voice was flat, almost gentle. "Now, he learns what it feels like to have strangers decide his future." Morning came like a blade. At 8:40 a.m., Callum Voss stood in his mansion's front foyer in a crisp shirt, tie perfect, smiling at the mirror like last night had never happened. The Harbor Line signing was scheduled for 9. Investors were arriving. The press would be on the lawn. The waterfront was going to be his. Layla floated down the staircase, flawless, already rehearsing her new title in her head. "Is the staff briefed?" she asked. Callum adjusted his cufflinks. "They're terrified. That counts." A car pulled up outside. Black, tinted windows, silent. Callum barely glanced. "Another investor?" Then his head of security stepped in, face tight for the first time. "Sir, that vehicle isn't on our list." Before Callum could answer, the doorbell rang once. Not polite, not panicked, final. Callum opened the front door with the confidence of a man used to being greeted, not confronted. 2 agents stood on the steps. Behind them, more. One held a folder. "Callum Voss?" the lead agent asked. Callum's smile didn't move. "Yes, how can I—" "You are being served a search warrant," the agent said, calm as weather. "And an order freezing transactions related to Harbor Line development, pending investigation into money laundering, public corruption, and witness intimidation." Layla appeared behind Callum, voice sharp. "This is insane. Do you know who we are?" The agent didn't look at her. He looked at Callum. "Step aside." For the first time in years, Callum didn't have the right words ready. His investors' cars began arriving behind the black sedan. People stepped out in suits, slowed when they saw the agents, and stopped like they'd walked into the wrong movie. Phones came out. Callum's jaw tightened. "This is a mistake." "It's not," Hayes said, stepping into view at the foot of the stairs. And then Eden walked up beside him. Same woman, same calm spine. Not dressed up, not transformed, just present, standing with the kind of protection Callum thought only money could buy. Layla's face went pale, then violent. "Her?" Hayes spoke without raising his voice. "You attempted to force her into signing a confession and threatened her into silence. We have the recording." Callum stared at Eden like she'd become a language he couldn't control. "You—" Eden met his eyes. "You told me to forget." Callum's lips parted, searching for a weapon. "You stole—" We have terrace footage, Hayes cut in. We have the planted necklace. We have your staff testimonies. And we now have materials recovered from your restricted suite. The agent stepped forward. Sir, hands where I can see them. Callum's gaze flicked to the watching investors, to the phones, to the lawn where press were already turning their cameras away from the signing and toward his front door. His voice went low. We can talk privately. The agent didn't blink. You don't get private anymore. They guided him onto his own steps, the same steps he'd walked down 1,000 times like a king. Only now he stood there while strangers checked his pockets, asked for his phone, ordered his security to stand down. Behind him, Layla's perfect composure shattered into frantic whispers and desperate calls that went unanswered. And Eden watched, not smiling, not celebrating, just witnessing. Because this wasn't revenge, it was balance. The black-tinted car's door closed with a soft, final thud, and Callum Voss stood in front of his mansion with nothing left to offer except silence.